This is the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. I am your host, Laurie Henderson. Join me on this journey into the world of manga, where a river of reviews flow through caverns of commentary down into the latest news. Welcome to the Manga Dome. Episode 32. Yokai are friends, not foes. Golgo 13, 45th anniversary. Golgo 13, the stoic assassin that never misses on the job or in bed, reaches a couple of milestones this year. The 140th volume of the series was published in Japan just last month, and this year marks the 45th year in print. To celebrate this, Big Comic, the magazine that serializes Duke Togo's adventures, had 51 manga and cover artists do illustrations of the character. Some of the artists include Naoki Urasawa, Eiichiro Oda, Takehiko Inoue, Rumiko Takahashi, Shigeru Mizuki, and Mari Yamazaki, just to name a few. Some of the images can be seen at the Crunchyroll site. Check the show notes for the link. I love Takahashi's the most. Seven Seas license Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer. Seven Seas Entertainment just doesn't respect the con season. They were constantly announcing licenses before and after cons, and now, with the con season over, they have another license to announce. Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer is a 10-volume series that was first released digitally by J-Manga before it shut down. Seven Seas announced the title in a video on Twitter, which showed a staff member flipping through a manga with the caption, "New license. Can you guess what it is?" The series follows Asamiya Yuhei, an ordinary college student, until a lizard comes to him and asks him to help save the world. He is given powers, a magical ring, and an enemy stalking him. He is saved by his next-door neighbor, Samidare, who is planning something. It's another series that just seems right up Seven Seas' alley. I passed on this series when it was on J-Manga, so I will do so again. But fans who wanted the series will be able to get it in print now. Manga Reborn makes Kickstarter goal. The legal fan translation site, Manga Reborn, makes its Kickstarter goal of $6,000 to translate and localize 10 manga titles. The Kickstarter actually made $7,098 before the time was up, giving backers the stretch goal of an additional manga, The Old Testament, by Machiko Satonaka. The money from the Kickstarter will go for funding translation and localization, as well as making the titles available digitally. I had wondered if this Kickstarter would succeed where other manga that wasn't Tezuka failed. It's good to see manga fans step up for titles not previously available legally in English. VizManga.com update. On the VizManga Top 10 for the week of November 5th, 2013, Shonen Action takes over shoujo drama by one volume. Starting out the list is Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 2 debuting at number 1. Skip Beat Volume 10 debuts at number 2, while Boys Over Flowers, a new title to the site 2 weeks ago, comes in with Volume 1 at number 3. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does the double shot again with Millennium World Volume 1 at number 4 and Volume 2 at number 5. Cross-Manage Volume 3 pops up at number 6, while the third Yu-Gi-Oh! Volume, Yu-Gi-Oh! R Volume 4, comes in at number 7. Boys Over Flowers returns with Volume 2 at number 8, Saint Dragon Girl Volume 8, the final volume of that series, comes in at number 9, and Bleach Volume 58 returns at number 10. A lot of the recent debuts have made the list this week. Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium World and Boys Over Flowers are newcomers, but it's also cool to see older titles like Yu Yu Hakusho and Saint Dragon Girl reappear. Cross-Manage really deserves to return to the list with its new volume, but I wonder what's fueling this Yu-Gi-Oh! Resurgence. 2 more titles were added to the site this week. Gimmick is a cool and entertaining title about Kohei Nagase, a special effects wizard who uses his talents to help people. In the first volume, he and his stuntman/sidekick, Kanazuki, help a starlet escape her sleazy manager, stop a disgruntled makeup artist from blowing up a zombie attraction at a theme park, and a star scarred in a car accident wants Kohei's help in getting her career back. This series is on my to-read list, but my husband read and reviewed several of the volumes. See the show notes for links. It looks like a fun and entertaining series, with some similarities to the late 80s, early 90s movies, FX. Here is Greenwood as another older shoujo. Kazuya Hasakawa enrolls in the exclusive Ryokuto Academy after his older brother marries Kazuya's first love and they move in to live with the family. At his new all-boys boarding school, Kaja is moved into the dorm called Greenwood and becomes roommates with Shun Kisagari, a cross-dressing girl. This is another title that was popular, but because of time and age has become difficult to come by. Even if their prices suck, Viz does get some kudos for continuing to bring these older titles back to be discovered by a new audience. The New York Times Top 10. Wow, what a difference a week makes. For the week ending November 9th, 2013, a new title stands on top. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds Volume 5 jumps to the top spot at number 1. Behind it is Naruto Volume 63 at number 2 and Shoujo Favorite Vampire Knight Volume 17 at number 3. Attack on Titan Volume 8 falls 2 to number 4, while Midnight Secretary Volume 2 debuts at number 5. Maximum Ride the Manga Volume 7 falls 2 to number 6, while Attack on Titan Volume 1 moves back up 3 to number 7. Alice in the Country of Hearts, Mad Hatter's Late Night Tea Party Volume 1 jumps in at number 8, followed by Monster Musume Volume 1 falling 2 to number 9, and Ultimo Volume 9 finishing out the list at number 10. The Yen Press Invasion from last week got kicked by a Viz wave of new titles this week. Only Maximum Ride survived as I thought it would, though I thought it would be Titans kicking them off. Seven Seas doubles its charting titles with a new Alice in the Country of title. It's not surprising to see a Naruto and Yu-Gi-Oh! Title at the top, but seeing Midnight Secretary, a mature title chart, is. Yokai are friends, not foes. Yokai are the traditional monsters of Japan. Like the boogeyman, vampires, and werewolves of Western culture, Japan has a long history of weird and strange monsters, a history that remains relevant today. Not only do yokai permeate Japanese culture, they are all over manga. As a Western reader, picking up books about these monsters can be a little daunting, since Western readers will lack the cultural context. Fortunately, authors Matt Alt and Hiroko Yoda have created a guide to yokai. Yokai Attack, the Japanese Monster Survival Guide, is a great resource as it provides pictures, stats, and stories about 50 of the most commonly encountered creatures. I reviewed the book back in 2010 and found it really helpful as I read more manga featuring yokai. While there are a lot of manga that feature yokai, I'm going to narrow this podcast down to just 3 titles: Kitaro, Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan, and Yokaiden. While each of these titles are from a different time and culture, they have a common thread of yokai being portrayed as friendly or helpful. The resurgence of yokai in Japanese culture can be traced back to one manga, Gegege no Kitaro, by Shigeru Mizuki. The title was published in 1966 and ran for 4 years. 9 volumes were compiled and released. Mizuki's portrait of yokai reawakened an interest in them, which lives on today. In the U.S., the manga has been released by Drawn and Quarterly, which collected select chapters from the series in a 400-page volume. Kitaro is a yokai boy who is the last of the ghost tribe. He helps humans who are troubled by yokai. He is assisted by his father, the walking eyeball known as Medama Oyaji, who lives in Kitaro's empty left eye socket. These chapters feature yokai both well-known and not so well-known. The Futakuchi Onna, Kamaitachi, and Konaki Jiji appear alongside Kyu Ketsuki, Suna Kakebaba, and Obake Daruma. Some are friends and some are foes, and some, like Nezumi Otoko, can be both. There are even monsters from the West, such as Dracula and Frankenstein, which are called yokai, and even a uniquely American yokai, the Backbeard, make an appearance. Most of the stories feature some yokai that has possessed or is terrorizing humans, and Kitaro's help is sought to solve the problem. Kitaro helps because he wants humans and yokai to live together peacefully. His abilities and willingness to help is known throughout Japan, and he is treated almost like a national hero. He is even asked to go on a scientific expedition because of his mysterious powers. Gegege no Kitaro not only brought yokai back to the forefront of Japanese culture, but it showed them in a favorable light. They didn't have to be something to be feared. They could be our friends and protectors. Jump ahead 42 years, and another boy with yokai blood rises to protect humans and search for a way for humans and yokai to live together. Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan, follows Rikyo Nura, a 3/4 human, 1/4 yokai boy. He is the grandson of Nurari Hion, the head of a Yakuza yokai clan. At the beginning, Rikyo doesn't want to succeed his grandfather as the head of the clan. He wants a human life, but as the yokai side of his life encroaches more into his human life, he realizes he can't shirk his responsibility if he wants to protect those important to him. The series ran for 25 volumes and only just ended in February of this year. This series is filled with yokai of all different kinds, as the Nura clan leads other yokai clans against the Kyoto yokai, who are striving to resurrect Nue, an ancient half-yokai who wants yokai to rule over humans. It is one battle after another as the Nura clan try to stop the resurrection. In many ways, Rikyo can be seen as a successor to Kitaro. Rikyo understands that there are good and bad yokai. While the Nura clan does use its fear against humans, they aren't destructive. They're more mischievous. Nura Rihyon himself likes to break into human homes to steal items, but his clan doesn't prey on humans or eat them like the Kyoto yokai are shown to do. In an interesting parallel, Nue's origins are shown, and his quest for immortality doesn't start out as a desire for darkness to rule over all. He is like Rikyo and Kitaro in that he wants the balance of darkness and light, the yin and the yang, yokai and humans to live together. Events change Nue's beliefs, but he starts out with the same beliefs and goals of Rikyo. There are far too many yokai to mention in these volumes, but some notables are the Karasu Tengu, who is Nura Rihyon's right-hand man/bird, Gasha Dokuro, and Tsuchigumo. Yokai aren't just loved by the Japanese. Those of us in the West can love the strange creatures just as much, if not more. In 2009, Del Rey Manga started to publish a series called Yokaiden. It is an original series by creator Nina Matsumoto. Unfortunately, only 2 of the 3 planned volumes were released. Yokaiden's protagonist is a human who loves yokai named Hamachi. He is always trying to meet them, and one day finds a kappa in a trap. He helps the kappa escape by sawing off his leg. The yokai leaves Hamachi swearing vengeance on the one who set the trap. When Hamachi returns home, he finds his grandmother dead. She was the one who set the trap. Hamachi then decides to go into the yokai realm to find the kappa and ask him if he killed his grandmother, and possibly get revenge for her death. Matsumoto's love of yokai is obvious in the series. They pop up everywhere, from the grime liquor in the bathtub, to the bean washer by the river, to the namahage that helps Hamachi into the yokai realm. Once there, of course, there are nothing but yokai. The most enjoyable thing I found in the Yokaiden volumes were the yokai. There was a great variety of them, and Matsumoto made their appearances very distinctive. I love the Zuku Mogami lantern he first meets. It's a paper lantern with its tongue sticking out. I also like the Tenome, a humanoid yokai with eyes on his palms. He was great for comedy relief. Hamachi wants to be friends with yokai, which makes him sort of a mirror image of Kitaro and Ryuko. He has no yokai blood in him, but he loves the creatures just as much, if not more, than humans. He wants to get to know them and live with them. Even though his reasons for going to the yokai realm is to get justice for his grandmother, he doesn't necessarily think the kappa was responsible. He is going to ask first and then seek revenge if he was. Both humans and yokai think Hamachi is weird, but his earnest feelings do win him some friends in the yokai world. But he is willing to give the kappa the benefit of the doubt. I found his naivete in the first volume annoying, but he started to grow on me in the second. It's still the yokai that are the stars of the series, though. I'm really sad that we won't get the end of the series. I want to know who killed his grandmother. She wasn't a nice person by any means, and I really don't blame the yokai that offed her, but I just don't think the kappa did it. I guess I'll never know. These 3 titles are far from the only titles, in English even, that feature yokai. I've written about yokai and manga on my blog several times. Go to the show notes to find links to these posts if you want to find out about more yokai manga. If you find yokai as fascinating as I do, check out these titles. Nura is slow to start, but once it gets past Ryuko's rejection of his yokai side and he really starts to accept it, then the story starts to pick up and becomes fun. Kitaro is an entertaining one-shot that readers interested in the origins of yokai in manga and or in the history of manga will want to check out. Yokaiden is sadly out of print and may be harder to come by, but is worth it for its variety of yokai. Thank you for listening to the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. You can find links to the stories and books discussed here in the show notes at manga.jdragononline.com. You can email me with any questions at xanadu@jadedragononline.com or leave a comment on this post. Rate me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Manga Xanadu, all one word. Until next time, farewell from the Manga Dome.